I should let you into a little secret here. One of the key issues of how to decide which centres of excellence to choose is they must be very excellent already before we take them on board. So, I mean, this is an extraordinary achievement that the colleagues at Georgia Tech have done in putting up a first-rate application. And as I say, no one is more pleased than I am. This is a fine achievement by the Sam Nunn team, who put an impressive and ambitious bid together. But it's also very good news for the European Commission. One of our greatest challenges, one of the greatest challenges of my team in Washington, is, of course, to ensure that the European Union, America's most important political and economic partner, is better known and better understood outside the Beltway. And responsible as I am for the press and public diplomacy effort in the United States, I take considerable comfort in knowing that with the launch of this European Union Centre of Excellence and its programme of activities for the next 3 years, the Southeast now has a significant additional resource in researching and promoting the transatlantic relationship. Additional, that is, to the already impressive activities of this and other universities, of the Southern Centre of International Studies, the organisers of the annual European event in Plains, and the informational programmes of the Member State Consulate Generals and the European cultural centres here. There is, in short, a lot going on down here in Atlanta on EU-US relations, and that is as it should be. We, in Europe, recognise Atlanta's role as a major transport hub, as a regional centre, a media centre, a high-tech city, home to some of America's finest universities and institutions. The EU is Georgia's main source of direct foreign investment, as the representative of the governor outlined, and its largest single export market. And the two combined, the export industries exporting to Europe, the enterprises here supported by European investment, support something like 250,000 jobs, between 200 and 225,000 jobs. This is a very significant investment here in the state of Georgia in this vital transatlantic alliance between our two regions. And we Europeans, and most recent public opinion survey results from the German Marshall Fund confirm it, are following events in the US in general very closely and often know a surprising amount about current developments in the United States. We also, of course, follow events, not perhaps quite so closely, in Georgia too. We fly the airline, we drink the drink, we do all the things we ought to do. We look at the news. But we follow these things in part, of course, because the USA is unique in terms of its global power and influence, but also because the transatlantic relationship is quite unique in its depth and intensity and complexity. Americans also know a lot about Europe, often far more than we Europeans are prepared to recognize. But I do believe that there is an enormous gap in general knowledge of how much Europe has changed in the last 2 decades. And there is perhaps an unwillingness to recognize quite how important a robust transatlantic relationship will be for both of us in confronting the challenges of a rapidly evolving post-Cold War world. When I say that there is perhaps an unfortunate, on both sides of the Atlantic, an unfortunate tendency sometimes to take this relationship, this important political relationship as well as economic relationship for granted. I was given a very dramatic example of this the last time I came to Atlanta. I came here and I was privileged to listen to an extraordinary, I'm not quite sure what the collective word for ex-secretaries of states, let's say eminence. So I listened to an extraordinary eminence of ex-secretaries of state, sharing their combined and impressive wisdom of what the next administration should pay special attention to in its external relations. Now, there were many welcome comments on the need to invest more heavily in keeping relations with America's oldest and most reliable allies in good shape. And we naturally count ourselves very much amongst those. But almost nothing was explicitly said, almost nothing, about the importance of relations with the European Union as a body, as a structure. When I say almost nothing, unless I went to sleep at one point, I think nothing was explicitly said. And a very similar myopia is apparent in any in-depth analysis of the respective party political platforms in the upcoming presidential election. We should be very clear, I think, that there are so many global issues where close transatlantic collaboration is a sine qua non for progress in directions we favor. I think it's very important to make that point. The world has changed in the sense that it is no longer clearly apparent that Europe and the United States individually can fundamentally guide the world agenda. But there are strong indications that on those issues that matter most to it, we can if we collaborate.